New episode, and it was very informative and a lot of fun. I had Konrad Stump, who is from the local history department at the public library. He came on. They're doing some. It's funny. We're tied in together. We do a lot of work together and a lot of research together. But this fall, they've got two programs that kind of dovetail with our haunted tours and our other tours that we've got going on. And that he came on and we talked about our tours, talked about his programs. He's got one, Preserving History, which is about local history that begins the first part of September with a talk about May Kennedy McCord. And then Betty Love, there's one about Betty Love. Just fascinating, just along through the fall where you can go and hear talks about interesting people from the history of this area. This is part of a periodical that comes out from the library. And it's called Bookends. It comes out every quarter. And this tells about the Preserving the Ozarks program that we talked about yesterday and some of the activities. The Jewish community, May Kennedy McCord, Betty Love, which is a fascinating story, and then the Fairgrounds and Beyond about auto racing. And we're going to have people on my show that will talk about some of these activities over the course of the next few weeks. So it'll be a lot of fun and really interesting for both people visiting the museum and people going to the library. And then the other one that ties in even better with our haunted tours is called Oh the Horror, which is kind of horror stories and things like that, and about hauntings and so on, that will be at the main library, and then at some of the branches as well, I think. Our haunted tours start the middle of September, and I think it's the 16th, and they'll be on Friday and Saturday nights, walking tours of downtown, and then on September 30th and the 1st of October, I'll have 2 nights of bus tours on a Friday and Saturday, where we'll be a little bit farther afield as far as talking about haunted places around the whole city. But we have a lot of similar stories and a lot of interesting stories, like at the Gilloy's Theater. I've over the course of time, I've done the haunted tours for years, and people that ride on the tour will sometimes give me new ghost stories. And it was interesting. I got a ghost story about the Gilloys, from a lady who had been an usher there, and they'd had a Saturday matinee, and she had seen. She went in to clean up the theater after the matinee, and there was a man about 6 rows back in the middle of the row, and it looked like he maybe had nodded off or something. And she started down toward him, and he slowly disappeared. And I thought, well, that's a cool story. And didn't think much more about it, and man, I mentioned it a couple of times over the course of the next few years. And then I was on another bus tour, and a lady came up to me before the tour even started and said, "Hey, I've got a story." She was much younger than the lady that had told me the story at first, and who had been an usher there in the late 40s and early 50s. And this lady had been an usher there in the 60s and early 70s. And she told me almost identical story about seeing a man down front, and as she walked down toward him, he disappeared. And that was it's amazing. These two women at different times, years apart, telling me the same story, which kind of gives you a little bit of extra chill factor out of it.
Sure. So, I mean, with the Galois, I mean, is it just the fact that because it's a theater? Or?
I don't know. Every theater in town has ghost stories, and I don't know why. We have them at the Fox, they have them at the Landers, they have them at the Gilloys. All of the older theaters seem to have more than their share. I don't know whether it's the drama or the imagination or what it is, but they seem to compile a list as long as your arm of ghost stories.
I mean, what about the individual buildings of those places? I
Oh,
mean,
yeah, and there, of course, we've got ghost stories all over town. People sense that and feel that, and it's interesting, and it's an enjoyable tour. The walking tours are a lot of fun. The girls that do those are really good, and then I do the 2 bus tours, the 31st and the 1st.
so do Do you ever have any visitors who get too scared and don't want to do it?
Oh no, no. I mean, it's not that impactful. I don't make it real gory or awful. So it's just it is what it is, and you can believe or not believe. We're just throwing it out there.
Are you a big Halloween guy yourself?
Yeah, as I've acquired grandchildren, yeah, maybe a little more, but I'm hard to disguise, so I really was never very good at Halloween.
Okay. So what do you have going on next week then?
Next week, I've got Caitlin McConnell, who does a website, Ozarks Live, and does wonderful research and gets to travel and go everywhere and capture the folklore and stories of the place we call home. So she'll be a lot of fun to talk to and get what she's got coming up as projects and so on. And looking forward to that one.